The Asus Zenfone Max Pro was just announced at a very attractive price point in India, which may make it a viable alternative to the Redmi Note 5 Pro, especially considering that the Note 5 Pro is difficult to get. However, for many, the camera is the deciding factor, and in this video, we'll compare the cameras of both the phones in detail. This is Sandeep from RevAtlas. Let's get this started. Both the phones sport dual cameras at the back. They also have similar 5MP depth sensors for portrait and bokeh effects. However, the primary sensor is a 12MP unit on the Redmi Note 5 Pro, while the Zenfone Max Pro gets a 13MP unit, and both have an aperture of f2.2. Asus isn't revealing the pixel size, but the Max Pro has an OmniVision 16880 sensor, while Note 5 Pro has a Sony IMX486 and a pixel size of 1.25 micron for the primary sensor, as well as f2 aperture and 1.12 micron pixel size for the depth sensor. Coming to the image quality, the Max Pro manages to capture more sharpness and detail, but at the sake of higher noise. The difference in sharpness isn't massive, but is still tangible, and funnily, in some situations, the Note 5 Pro also did capture some things with more detail. The saturation is definitely higher on the Max Pro, and it has a tendency to produce more yellowish images, while Note 5 Pro has a more bluish tone. The native dynamic range is much better on the Note 5 Pro, while the images seem a bit darker on the Max Pro because of the darker shadows. This is where the Hdr Mode comes in. Hdr Mode isn't too aggressive on the Note 5 Pro, and while it does help in many situations, the problem of underexposing the shot is still present on the device. The Max Pro, on the other hand, has a very aggressive HDR algorithm that does well in terms of bumping up the shadows and preventing the highlights from getting overexposed, but it also increases saturation a fair bit. Low-light performance is similar on both the devices, however it's also a bit confusing. In some situations, the Note 5 Pro performed better with lower noise and a sharper image, but in others, the Note 5 Pro had more noise and weird colors, and perhaps even some motion blur, while the Zenfone Max Pro had a more stable shot with more accurate colors and sharpness. Hard to pick a winner here. Coming to the portrait mode, the algorithm is vastly superior currently on the Note 5 Pro. The Zenfone Max Pro will be updated further and will improve in terms of algorithm, but currently the difference is quite tangible and the Note 5 Pro has the lead. The Asus Zenfone Max Pro comes equipped with an 8MP f2.0 camera, while the Note 5 Pro gets a higher resolution 20MP front-facing camera but with f2.2 aperture. In terms of the front camera image quality, the Note 5 Pro does much better in terms of detail and sharpness, as well as the native dynamic range. The Max Pro simply can't compete here, and the same goes for the portrait mode too, where the Note 5 Pro again has superior blurring algorithm and edge detection. In terms of video, the Redmi Note 5 Pro is capable of shooting only up to 1080p videos, but it does have EIS. The Zenfone Max Pro, on the other hand, allows you to shoot up to 4K videos in 30fps and even 4K DCI videos, albeit in 24fps, but none of the modes currently give you EIS. Video quality and bitrate in 4K is pretty good on the Zenfone Max Pro, but the lack of EIS means that you would need to use a gimbal or stabilizer to get something that looks as smooth as the Redmi Note 5 Pro. We hope that Asus adds EIS and Xiaomi adds 4K video recording with future firmware updates. Coming to the front-facing camera videos, I would definitely take the Note 5 Pro over the Zenfone Max Pro due to the higher quality videos, and also the Zenfone Max Pro seems to be recording the audio in mono. So this is the front-facing camera of the Redmi Note 5 Pro capturing video. Let me know what you guys think about the overall sharpness, the dynamic range, the stability, and how well it's even picking up my voice. So this is the front-facing camera of the Zenfone Max Pro capturing video. Let me know what you guys think about the overall sharpness, the detailing, the dynamic range, the stability, and how well it's even picking up my voice. The Zenfone Max Pro does shine when it comes to a rear camera detail, sharpness, as well as the HDR mode, and the various video resolution support and detailing also makes for an impressive fight. But for an overall performance, it seems like the Note 5 Pro still takes the cake. The Zenfone Max Pro should definitely improve its performance with future updates, but it remains to be seen whether it can topple the Note 5 Pro. Perhaps we'll do an updated comparison in 1 or 2 months' time. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next one.